There is a certain kind of life most people never notice: quiet, composed, always agreeable, always available. From the outside, it looks harmless, even admirable. But inside, it feels like a tightening in the chest, a subtle flicker of fear that never fully goes away. I once watched someone I cared about move through the world like this, a friend who smiled through exhaustion, who apologized for things that weren't her fault, who whispered yes even when her whole body begged for no. I remember standing with her outside a cafe when her phone buzzed with yes, another request she didn't have the energy to fulfill. She stared at the screen, a silent war unfolding behind her eyes, and quietly said, "I don't want to, but I will." I never forgot that line, because it wasn't just about her, it was about countless people who live with the same invisible weight. This isn't a story about kindness, it's about the psychology of those who feel they must never disappoint anyone, even at the cost of themselves. For them, saying no doesn't feel like a choice, it feels like stepping into danger. It feels like risking disappointment, disapproval, or the fear of becoming less valued in someone's eyes. That instinct is born long before adulthood. In childhood, moments when approval felt like safety and disapproval felt like emotional coldness, when being agreeable wasn't just polite, it was survival. Those early lessons linger, shaping a person who grows up believing their worth lies in being easy, helpful, unobtrusive. In adulthood, this pattern becomes quieter but more damaging. It appears in the quick replies sent through exhaustion, in the soft apologies for things that were never their fault, in the way they swallow their own needs to avoid appearing difficult or ungrateful. On the surface, they seem calm, reliable, the kind of person everyone depends on, but inside, they carry the silent weight of feeling responsible for the emotional climate around them. They fear that the faintest no could crack the harmony they've spent a lifetime trying to maintain. People who struggle with saying no are often deeply empathetic. They feel tension before it's spoken. They sense disappointment before it appears. Their minds predict reactions that may never come, yet those imagined consequences feel overwhelmingly real. It isn't weakness, it's emotional wiring. It's a sensitivity that becomes so finely tuned to others that they slowly lose the ability to tune into themselves. Over time, they begin to live a life shaped not by intention, but by obligation. They show up for everything and everyone, quietly draining themselves in the process. They forget what they enjoy, what they prefer, what they need. Their sense of self fades beneath years of keeping the peace. Eventually, the cost begins to show, not in sudden collapse, but in a slow, quiet erosion. A tiredness that rest can't fix, a soft resentment they don't want to admit, a sense of feeling unseen in their own life, because they never give others the chance to truly see them. And when they finally try to say no, guilt rushes in like a tidal wave, rational, overwhelming, but deeply familiar. It isn't the guilt of doing something wrong, it's the guilt of betraying the role they've always played. But something changes when a person understands that saying no isn't conflict, it's clarity. It's not rejection, it's self-respect. And contrary to their fears, healthy people don't vanish when you set boundaries. The world doesn't fall apart. The relationship doesn't collapse. The storm exists only in the mind. With each no, a small piece of themselves returns. A preference, a desire, a truth. Slowly they rediscover the person who existed before they learned to shrink their wants to make others comfortable. And that transformation is quiet but powerful. The shift from surviving to living, from pleasing others to honoring oneself, from fading into the background to finally stepping into their own presence. If you've ever struggled with this, if you've ever whispered yes while your heart whispered no, then this story is yours too. And before you leave, tell me in the comments what part of this hit you the hardest. And if you want more deep dive stories like this, make sure to like, subscribe, and join me for the next chapter.